this is a set which is based on vending machine which has 5 switches 1 to 5, and when operated dispenses cool drinks Coca Cola, 7 Up, Mirinda, Limca, and Pepsi depending on a switch, the one which is turned on. The machine is such that each switch dispenses two different drinks, and each drink is dispensed by two different switches, which means each drink should be dispensed on switching two different switches, and each switch dispenses two different drinks. If two or more switches are turned on, the common drink, if any, nullifies each other and will not come out at all, which means if two switches, say S1 and S2, have drinks A, B, and B, C, and when these two switches are turned on, then B will get nullified, only A and C will come out, and to get the drink that one wants, he or she has to turn on the right combination of switches, put in money, and press the delivery button. And some additional information are also known. So basically here we have to find the drinks that come out of the 5 switches. So let's start with the statement 7, in which it is given that 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 do not supply 7 of Limca, Coca-Cola, Mirinda, and Pepsi respectively, which is represented in the table drawn on the slide. Now come to the statement first, in which it is given that 1 and 3 when switched on, we get 7 Up and Mirinda, which means there is a common drink which gets nullified when these two switches are turned on. But it is known that 7 Up is not dispensed by switch first, which means Mirinda is dispensed by switch first, and 7 Up by switch 3, as Mirinda is not a common drink between 1 and 3, which means 3 does not dispense Mirinda as well. Now moving to statement third, here it is given that when switches 1 and 2 are turned on, we get Coca-Cola and Pepsi. We know that switch first dispenses Mirinda, and it is not there when first and second are turned on, which means it gets cancelled out. So one of the cold drink dispensed by 2 is Mirinda, and another one is 1 out of Coke and Pepsi. Same goes with switch 1 as well. One is Mirinda and second one is Coke or Pepsi. Now moving to statement 4, in which it is given that when 1 and 4 are turned on, we get Limca, Coca-Cola, Mirinda, and Pepsi. So from here we can observe that there is no drink common between the switches 1 and 4, and as Mirinda is dispensed by 1 and 2, it will certainly not be dispensed by switch 4, as there are exactly two switches that dispense a particular cold drink, and the switches, the cold drink that are dispensed by switch 1 are Mirinda and 1 out of Pepsi and Coke. So from here Limca must be one of the drink that comes out of switch 4, and the other drink that comes out of switch 4 is Coke or Pepsi. Now Moving to statement second, in which it is given that when switches 2, 4 and 5 are turned on, we get 7 Up and Mirinda. We know that switch 4 does not dispense Mirinda, and Mirinda is not cancelled out when these three switches are turned on, which means switch 5 does not dispense Mirinda, and switch 4 also does not dispense Mirinda. From here we can conclude that one of the cold drink dispensed by switch 4 is 7 Up, rather switch 5 is 7 Up, as switch 4 dispenses Limca and one out of Coke and Pepsi, and switch 2 dispenses Mirinda and one out of Coke and Pepsi. So from here it is clear that 7 Up is one of the cold drink which is dispensed by switch 7. Now coming to statement fifth, here it is given that 3, 4 and 5 when turned on we get Coke and Pepsi. Here it can be seen that 3 and 5 both dispenses 7 Up, which means when these three switches are turned on, 7 Up gets cancelled out. And it is also known that one of the drink dispensed by switch 4 is Limca, which is also not there, which means this gets cancelled out with switch 5, which means the other cold drink delivered by or dispensed by switch 5 is Limca. Now coming to the last statement here, in which it is given that when 2, 3 and 5 are turned on we get Limca, Coke, Mirinda and Pepsi. From here it is obvious that 7 Up gets cancelled out because it is common between 3 and 5, and Coke is not dispensed by 3. Mirinda is dispensed by first and 2, so it will not be dispensed by 3. Moreover, it is already known. Now we are left with Pepsi and Limca, as Limca is dispensed by 5 and the drink which gets nullified is 7 Up. Therefore, the second drink which is dispensed by Swiss 3 is Pepsi. And from there it can be concluded that, you coming to 4 again, that one of the other cold drink that is dispensed by 4 is Coke. So from here Pepsi is the second drink that is dispensed by switch 1. Therefore Coke is the second drink that is dispensed by switch second apart in addition of the drink Mirinda. So that is the complete arrangement. Now come to the questions. First question asks, one of the drinks which is dispensed by turning on switch 1 is, when switch 1 is turned on, Mirinda and Pepsi come out, and out of these two, Mirinda is in the option third, therefore option C is the correct answer. In next question, it is asking, 7 Up is one of the drinks that is dispensed by turning on switch. We know that when switch 3 is turned on, 7 Up comes out, therefore option C is the correct answer. In next question, we have to find one of the drinks which is dispensed by turning on switch 2, and when switch 2 is turned on, the drink that come out are Mirinda and Coke. Out of the given option, Mirinda is there, therefore option B is the correct answer. In the last question, we have to find the drinks that are dispensed by on turning switches 2 and 3. When switches 2 and 3 are turned on, the drinks that come out are Coca Cola, Mirinda, Pepsi and 7 Up, therefore option D is the correct answer.